All right, day 3. I'm about 10 hours into the hull. Sides are on. I have a little trick. I didn't film it, but I will show you what I did. Another thing, the back of your boat, I always make sure before you get any further than this point, you can still wiggle the sides around quite a bit. Get it all squared up, because it's gonna matter when you get your engine lid on. Big issue, making sure you get that engine lid on square, or else you're just gonna hate the whole thing. So check all this. Everything is completely square up and down on each side and the center. Square it off. This can all come off after. That's gonna come off shortly. And then, yeah, I'm gonna get the side combings on right now. Everything is wire wheeled, every weld surface inside and out and upside down. It's all been wire brushed. That way I don't have to fight with it once the piece is already on. And let's go. Well, it's a boat. It's a boat that, yet will not float. It's quite a bit bigger than the old 10-foot. Well, I have exactly 13 hours on this. Pretty much the whole thing tacked together, stringers tacked together, intake block is tacked in. I just got to put the 2 ends on. That can be done pretty much at any time. And then I always leave the swim gird off while I'm doing anything inside the boat, because you can literally stand right here and work on the engine or climb in and out. It's a lot easier. Yeah, buddy. Alrighty. So I got the hood on, and it was sticking out 3/4 of an inch all the way up to about this point. Then it was like right above here, but the bow was actually 2 inches lower. So that being said, you know, you're not supposed to cut anything on these boats. No trimming, nothing like that required. So get some flat chisels, spacers, you know, gap spacers, whatever you want to call them, and get in here, pry it up and over. Get another one here, pry it up and over. Work your magic by pulling the combing out and pushing the hood over. So all I did was I tacked there, and there on both sides. Double check that you are in line straight with the whole front of the boat before you tack one side. So I had to actually gap one side out just a bit, you know, the heavy 332 gap there, just so that I could bring this line over just a bit so I'm right in line. And that's how you get the hood on. Do like 3 tacks on this side, then come over, work your magic with the pry bars, whatever. Do 3 here, go a little further, do 6. Then go over here and do 3 more. Work your magic on both sides. What you're doing, you're pulling the combing out so it can match up. You're basically widening it. And then what that's doing, it's actually pulling the bow up at the same time. So by the time you get to here, at the last 3 tacks, it's pretty much directly in line. It's raised up. All you have to do is press down with one thumb, tack, 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 tack. So that's that part. Next thing I've done, I've laid out for the center inlay. I always wire wheel every weld surface. It's much easier to weld just the inside of the stringers. So I've only done the inside of those two and the front of the intake block. And I've also done just that center seam and then grounded it smooth because there's also a center rib that goes in there. Just get all that stuff out of the way. Wire brush, wire wheel, whatever you gotta do. Clean your surfaces. It's gonna make your welding look 100% nicer. It's a big difference between somebody saying, oh my God, who welded that? Or, oh, who welded that? You know what I'm saying? Like it's, take pride in your work. All right, let's flip this thing. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. Easy peasy. Oh yeah. Alrighty, time to weld in this intake. All the stringers are welded. Center inlay's welded in, as you can see. All the reflection. The back of the intake's welded. That back 1/2 inch lip is welded. The inside of that lip is still just stitched underneath the stringers. First thing I'm gonna do, all my tacks, I'm gonna feather the leading and trailing edges. And I'm gonna take my little nap gas torch right there, and I'm gonna heat up this block because this thing is gonna be cold, and you can watch it sweat actually. You can watch the water. Even in this 1/4 inch. We're going to heat this up really good. So this is a big block. A lot of material here to penetrate through. These off and rust is cold. Okay, I ended up just taking these tacks right down to pretty much nothing. I'm just gonna weld right over them. Nothing's gonna move. Leave a little bit of meat inside that groove, and that's it. I'm gonna hit this with a torch one more time. I'm gonna hit this side with the torch, weld this side, hit that side, weld that side. Alright, that's all welded in. My gun kept messing up on me. A little cold when I started, and that's even with free heat. I know I'm welding on both sides, so I'm not worried. Finally got the gun dialed in right about here, and yeah. Side was a little bit cold as well. And then, yeah. Okay, a little update here. Sorry I haven't been filming too much, just because it's all, from this point, straightforward welding. Intake block is welded in all the way around. Transom, stringers, everything is welded in all the way around. The only thing left to do, oh, and I've welded everything on the underside. Always do your open corners first rather than your fillet welds. Open corners, they won't make the metal open or close with the heat contraction. Your fillet welds will make that pull in slightly. Not so much maybe on this, but always get your open corners done first. So I'm leaving these outsides to the last. One more thing. All of my chines, all the tacks, I had a tack over here, here, all the way around. That's how I was assembling. I wasn't welding from the other side or tacking from the other side. I want my weld to look really nice all the way up and around, so I grinded all those stitches down flush and took the wheel in there and just made it uniform throughout, just so that my bead's gonna look seamless all the way around. And I'm gonna start getting going on that. I leave these braces in here until the whole boat is welded out, minus these back corner pieces. Those can be done at any time. And I will also be putting the boat on its side so that I can weld these in the flat position, because going vertical, you always want to weld uphand, and then you're creating way more heat than you need to. And I will also recommend stitching. Do like a 3-inch stitch here, 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 move to the other side, do that side, let it cool off a little bit, weld in, because you're gonna get a really big heat mark right over here and a slight warpage of the aluminum, and you'll be able to see it. You can sand it down a little bit after if you want to paint or vinyl wrap, but that's all up to you in the end. And I also, once all the welding is done, I will fit these corner pieces in, and I will always leave the transom off because I'm going to be installing motor. So much easier just to be able to stand here, reach over and work on everything rather than climb up, kneel on this, then you're hunched over even more. So it's so much nicer, even to like fit your pump, get your engine aligned. It's so much nicer to just work without obstructions in your way. And yeah, I will show more when I get there. All right. So the inside groove weld side of the chines is all welded all the way to the top. There's a difference in speed and heat, stacking dimes or welding stringers. If you're worried about heat input and warpage, don't stack dimes. Just do nice, smooth stringers, constant. So I did stitch this as well, like back stitching, and then I'm also going to stitch obviously the outside just to reduce a little bit of heat, a little bit of pulling. For that outside, I'm running like 26 volts, 606 wire speed on just the straight stringer, no stacking. And then on the inside groove weld side, I was doing 594 and 20.6 volts. A lot of people think, it's a quick tip, your heat is your wire speed and the shape of your bead is your voltage. If you want a really wet bead, a really flat bead, you want more voltage. If you want a really tall and lumpy bead and cold, sorry, not cold, but tall and lumpy, you're going to want less voltage. You want more heat input, wire speed, bead contour and shape is your voltage. Don't let anybody tell you different. Also a quick little money saver tip. Welding these boats out, you're going to go through a lot of contact tips in your welding machine, in your spool gun or push pull gun. There is a way to save them. When you find your weld bead is getting a little more spray transfer than normal, or you can tell your wire's not coming out as fast, take your tip out, swap it for another one, save it, because when it pinches down so much from the heat, that contraction of the metal is going to get like this. And I can't save that one. But if you pull them out just in time, you can actually use some oxy-fuel tip cleaners, bore out your tip, and then you can save it and reuse it over and over and over again. Welding these boats, no, it's just welding in general. Building these boats is very expensive, so even saving $5 on a pack of tips here and there, it adds up. Glad I could share that little trick of the trade. Learned that back in Nam. True story.
Bye.